now.
Okay, look out, everybody. Here we are on a Sunday morning. We weren't going to do any more weekend shows, but you know something, with all the activity, the flurry is going to be a flurry. And welcome aboard, everybody, on a lovely Sunday morning. And the Roto lady is with us. Good morning there, kid.
Good morning there,
Good morning there. I'm
kid.
down here, you're up there, and I think we're better off that way, right?
Yes, definitely.
Absolutely. Didn't have a good morning, but we'll see if we can straighten it out. That's all right. So we'll see if we can straighten it out. We got a lot to go over today, as usual. We got the Nuggets. We got a lot of baseball activity, a lot of flurry in the trade market, and then we will give you a recap for those that listened every day to the daily podcasts. We did a little bit every day, a recap of the players that are fantasy relevant in Major League Baseball from the Arizona Fall League, Andy. It's great.
Okay, let's get it on.
I missed it this year, right?
So did
Last couple of, I mean, we got to go. Arizona Fall League is just beautiful. The camaraderie of the fans that are there, the access to the players. It's a one of a kind thing, but we'll talk about it. We'll get there next year. Okay. Good morning to Brewer Jim. Daniel Ferrara is here. James Caplion, Robert C. Star Dog. So chat room is getting in. We'll see about that. And now we're getting close to the lockout. Whoa, what was that? I put in the chat room. I put up a poll on Twitter, and got a lot of response to it. Just put it up a little while ago. The question is, if a Major League Baseball lockout happens of more than 2 weeks, how will you feel? The choices were: lose some interest, lose all interest, don't care, find another sport. So, Andy, which one of those would you say is you? Lose some, lose all, don't care, find another sport.
I don't understand anybody that would say lose interest, because how much are you interested this time of year anyways? I don't get it.
Well, if they create a 1 or 2 month lock, I said anything over 2 weeks, and it could change the season. The easy answer is that people will say 62% says I don't care. But it was after that. 23% of the people said they would lose some interest. All right. Only a couple of people, 3%, said they would lose all interest. Malpal is here. Good morning. And so I found it interesting. 62%, no surprise, don't care. 11.5%, 11.5 says find another sport. That's what they would do. So pretty interesting. Okay.
What other sport are they going to find? Why would they have to find another sport? It's the freaking off season.
There we go. But a lockout actually would benefit some teams who have a lot of non-player items to address. And what's the number one team that jumps into your mind?
Mets.
They're going to get a manager. How does a team not have a manager and expect to attract free agents? What happens if a manager comes aboard and a particular free agent just doesn't want to play for that manager? So you got the manager. Free agents want to know the manager's philosophy. So picking a manager, okay, a lockout would actually help the Mets among other teams. I can't think of another team, but certainly I can think of the Mets, right?
The Mets need a manager, and yes, I do think it will help out little Billy Epler, but the Mets are not having a problem getting players, that's for sure. So maybe it will actually make more managers, potential managers, actually want to come and work for the Mets.
And of course, as we had said, a lot more activity. Players, and you mentioned it many times, Andy, players do not want to be shut out. Chris Gallo is here. Good morning to Chris and Malpal. Players don't want to be shut out. They want to know. They want to be secure. No, I'm playing for this team, and I'll wait for the lockout to end. So the Mets jumping on a lot of players and now focused on pitching. Okay, and of all the names to watch, I think the name that jumps off the page for me. Remember, the Mets will not sign anybody that requires them to give up a draft pick. So anybody who agreed to the
Really?
offer, to the qualifying offer, is somebody that somebody that the Mets will take. They don't want to give up any draft picks. So the number one pitcher, and this is one of your boys, somebody that you've liked a lot, John Gray, seems to be the number one pitcher that the Mets are going after. I mean, I know they're going after Gausman, but John Gray to me is the player. Maybe both is the pitcher that the Mets are focused on.
Is Gausman tied to a pick?
No, he's not. He did not get a compensation pick.
Okay. Yeah, I really like the Mets to try to get Gausman. I know that people don't really like Gausman and don't have a lot of faith in him. If they want to look at his career numbers, that's one thing. But in the past couple of seasons, he's been great. And the fact that he doesn't come with a pick tied to him is a huge plus. And I think the Mets should go for it.
Well, there are three pitchers. If we scroll down to Gausman, Andy, he's towards the bottom. But there are three pitchers that do not qualify for a compensation in return in terms of a draft pick. John Gray is one of them. Kevin Gausman is the other one. And Carlos Rodon is among the pitchers that can be signed absence of a draft pick and those kind of considerations. So how do you rank those as Met prospects? I rank them as Gray, Gausman, and Rodon.
I would rank Gausman above Gray. Okay.
Well, Gausman's got a lifetime ERA of 4.02.
I don't care about that.
He rarely throws more than 125 innings.
He crushes it. He strikes out batters. And that's not true that he rarely throws.
What do you mean? Take a look at his record. He rarely throws more than 125, 130 innings. Okay. And he starts a lot of games. He actually led the league twice in starts, but
yeah, I mean, look, he threw 192 innings in this past season. He also threw 183 innings in 2018, 186 innings in 2017, 179 innings in 2016. Okay. And then, of course, you have the 2019 season where he only threw 102 innings, but he pitched full time in 2020 and 2021. So I don't see it. Although, I mean, I will say I get the idea, his 4.02 ERA career is something. It's like talking about Bauer, but these two pitchers are substantially better than they had been. And he's only 30 years old. So it's not like his career passed him by completely.
Okay. And what would really hamper the Mets is that the other team involved is the Toronto Blue Jays. Toronto very much involved in coming up with Kevin Gausman. Okay.
Yeah, well, they should be. Everybody should be.
Everybody should be. Okay, so
well, I mean, so you like John Gray, and I've always been a fan of John Gray.
Yeah.
I don't know for sure that he's ever going to be the pitcher that we wanted him to be or expected him to be. Even outside of Colorado, I still wonder, and I wouldn't put a lot of faith in it. Even if he goes to a great ballpark, I might spend a little more depending on where he goes, obviously, but I don't know that I have as high hopes as I used to for Gray.
The king of all haps has entered the chat room. Good morning. Good morning to the Hapster. Now, of course, the main attraction was that the Mets signed Starling Marte. And according to Craig Mish, the Marlins had multiple opportunities to sign him. And Craig said he is perplexed how the Miami offer that they made very late would have gotten the deal done had they offered to him before anything was done. So Miami was after him. The Mets get him What do you think of the Mets getting Marte 4 years, $78 million contract? That's less than $20 million a year. That seems to be a very friendly contract for the Mets.
He batted .310 with 12 home runs. I mean, he's got 40. He's in 120 games. He has stole 47 bases.
Yep.
So he's one of the better players in baseball. That's for sure. That was in 2016, by the way. He hasn't done that in a while.
Well, he had the best. He was the leader in Fangraph's base running metric. So So here's the thing. What do you think we're paying for Starling Marte? He's always gone in the mid-20s.
Oh, wait, he did do that this past season. I got him confused. Sorry about that. 47 stolen bases this past season. Yep. A couple different teams, Yep. What do I expect from him?
And don't forget he had a rib fracture that cost him more than a month between April and May. Okay.
Yeah, he only had 467 at bats, and he stole 47 bases and 12 home runs with a .310 batting average, by the way.
And how much are we paying for him in fantasy baseball? Traditionally, he has gone in the mid-20s, but now that he's a headliner in the offseason, he's on a very popular team. The Mets, not the Yankees, but the Mets are a very popular team. How high are you going? Okay.
Well, I have to say, I mean, I'm surprised that he's stealing so many bases at 32. He's going to be 33 next year. So I would probably pay $28 for Marte. I mean, he's worth that for sure.
Yep, in fantasy baseball.
How is he stealing so many bases, dude, at 32 years old?
Well, I know James Caprion asked me a question before the show about what are the Mets doing. The Mets are looking for athletes, something that the Yankees are doing as well, looking for athletes.
What team is it?
Well, the Yankees have not signed athletes. I mean, they signed good baseball players, but non-athletes, and it's wound up hurting them. The Mets now, they got positional flexibility, they got athletic people, and according to what I have heard, this Escobar, who is pretty good player,
dude.
Escobar is not only a good player, but he's also a clubhouse influence.
Listen,
yes,
he can play everywhere. He's the greatest position eligible guy for this team. He's a switch hitter. They got him for $10 million a year for the next 2 years. Plus, he qualifies at first, second, and third in fantasy. Plus, he used to play shortstop when he was younger, earlier in his career. So this guy can play anywhere they need him, and he's not really flashy with his numbers. I mean, he hit 12 home runs. Wait, am I talking about no, that's Marte. Let me look at him. 28 homers. Are you kidding me? Like, Escobar you didn't like this pick though at first. You were like, that pick. Nah.
I never said that. I liked Escobar. He's put in over 100 innings at first base, second base, and third base.
Yes. You didn't like him though. Maybe it was just me, like the way that
it was just you.
The way that I took it, but like your response was like, oh, they got Escobar. I think that's a great pick. I think Marcana too. Marcana totally underrated. They're paying him more than Escobar, if you can imagine this.
Well, they're paying Escobar $10 million a year, right?
And they're paying Marcana $26.5 million for 2 years.
So he's 32 years old. He's versatile. He's a tremendous on-base guy. He can play all three outfield positions. He can play first base. And last 3 years, .377 on-base percentage.
Yes, dude. That's Marcana.
That's Marcana. And that absolutely does that. Now, the big question is, so they got Kana.
So they have, and also these guys are not bad defensively. The Mets seemed like they struggled a little bit in that category. So they got, now just with these 3 players, they've added depth to pretty much every position offensively. Right. They've added defense skills, which, they needed. And like Marcana has been underrated in my opinion. So is Escobar in fantasy.
Well, how much are you paying for Escobar? Give me a price on Escobar. Are we paying $12 for Escobar?
No, I'll pay like, okay, I'm not going up slowly because normally in a draft I would just be smart.
No, this is not an auction.
I would say 13, but right now I'm just going to say 22. I'll pay 22
Okay.
for Escobar.
James Caplion says 22 on Marte. I think you're not going to get him at 22.
22. That's it. That's all you
Not-
got.
Not going to get him at 22. How much you paying for Escobar?
22.
22 for Escobar. Okay.
Maybe
I think
24.
I think I think you can get him at 22 or 23. And what about Mark Conha? He's
Mark Conner?
never been a draftable fantasy player.
That's not true. No, that's not true. The past couple years, he has been a draftable fantasy guy. The last couple seasons.
Okay.
So I'm expecting from Kana, the typical like 17, 15 homers, and he does steal bases. He's 32 also. He'll be 33 next year. So I'll say 12 stolen bases and 15 homers, and I'll pay you probably won't have to pay that much for him. That's the beauty of it. But he should definitely be on your list, and you should be grabbing him. I would say $12 on Kana, maybe.
Okay, I think that's a fair play. Now, Star Dog.
His on-base percentage is better than his batting average, so this is a type of guy that you would want in an on-base percentage league and might be willing to spend a little bit more money on him in those types of leagues than average league.
Star Dog went $29 on Marte.
Yeah.
I think you got a good shot to get him. I would go 30, and probably not. That $30 number is a big number. People don't like to go 31, so that's probably what I would do. And now,
why don't they like 31? So
it's just a psychological.
Why? Because it's 13 backwards.
Do I have a bad connection in the chat room?
No, fine.
Am I repeating it all? Anyway, so, and then the question from Robert C. in the chat room is, can we assume that Baez and Conforto are gone? I think we could assume Conforto is gone. We could assume that.
Conforto, dude, might not even get a job.
Oh, he'll get a job. He's a good player.
He's horrible.
Well,
how is he a good player? Did you have him on any of your teams? No.
Yes, I had him on every team.
Then how can you say that he's a good player?
Well, I had a bad year, but I think he's a good player. He's not a bad player. I mean, I'm not saying you should overspend for him, but he's not a bad player, and he does have an upside.
Okay.
Okay.
So go ahead.
The other question is Javier Bias, and at this moment, it's a big question mark. He's having big contract talks with the Tigers that have been going on the last couple of days. Now, here's the reason that Detroit could be where he winds up. The Tigers need a shortstop. They are not going to spend big bucks on Correa or Story. They're just not going to do it. And Baez, out of all the shortstops, is probably the least expensive shortstop that's out there. So wouldn't be. The Tigers have talked to Semien, Correa, but they are focusing in on Javier Bias. So that's the Mets competition.
Yeah, I don't think the Mets should be on this list at all. I don't know why they're interested in to begin with, and especially now that they have Escobar, they don't need Baez.
Well, they don't need him, but the Mets are trying to build a team. Baez was offered 8 years, $168 million in 2020 by the Cubs, and then COVID hit, and all the negotiations went down the drain. So Jeremy Gibbs is here, ladies and gentlemen, back from school. Jeremy Gibbs. Good morning, Jeremy, and good morning to Rotorius. So the chat room is really getting packed. I wouldn't be surprised if the Mets get Bias, okay? But I wouldn't be surprised if he goes somewhere else, probably Detroit, okay? So that's the Mets situation. Michael Wacha signs with the Red Sox. And just to tell you about Wacha, Andy, 79 pitchers made 50 or more starts over the past 3 seasons. Michael Wacha ranks among those pitchers.
Okay, I'm reading the chat room. Sorry. Michael Waka stinks. Let me tell you something about Michael Waka. Okay. In the past 3 seasons, 79 pitchers threw or started 50 games or more. 79.
Yeah, I
This
just said
guy,
that.
he ranks 71st.
Uh,
Okay. With his record, he ranks 74th with ERA.
right.
Did you already say all these?
Yeah, no, I know I didn't.
74th in ERA, 73rd in FIP, 77th in ERA plus, and that's out of 79, by the way. Let me remind you of this. And his OPS against is 76th. I don't know what the Red Sox are doing. This guy is not good.
Chris Northrup is here, ladies and gentlemen. She is guest Margie. Good morning, Chris Margie
Good morning to Mark.
Northrup. Now, Adam Frazier, 29 years old, was an all-star last year. Okay, and they dealt him.
Adam Frazier.
Yeah, Adam Frazier.
Okay, he left San Diego. He didn't fit in there anyway.
He was an all-star from Pittsburgh. He's in line to play now a super utility role in Seattle. So we'll see about that.
So,
I still think Seattle is going to be in the mix for one of the big players.
I mean, they have a lot of players in their infield. They have J.P. Crawford, Toro, Ty France. They have Dylan Moore. Dylan Moore will move to utility job. And I don't know what else they're going to do, but San Diego gets Ray Kerr, who's 27 years old.
Right.
He bats 100 from the left side, so he needs to be in a platoon. Okay.
Not fantasy relevant.
They got to get rid of this guy. Their manager who's acting like he's got 2 jobs to fill. He's just not good. This is Preller, I think his name.
Yeah, H.A. Preller, the general manager. So we'll see about that. The Astros let go Hector Neris. The Astros agreed to a 2-year deal with Hector Neris. The Phillies let him go.
You like him.
I do like him.
He's
the
horrible.
Phillies, a team desperate. I mean, they definitely are the number one attraction for Craig Kimbrell. So the Astros will pay him about $17 million over 2 seasons. Are you surprised that John Heyman says that Cedric Mullins is on the trade block?
I don't think he's on the trade block. I think that they are willing to listen to trade offers, but that that there's a big difference between on the trade block and willing to listen to offers. I mean, any smart team would listen to offers. But Cedric Mullins, I don't see, they would have to get a lot for this cat because he doesn't even become a free agent until after 2025. And this team actually could start winning by then. I mean, if it was a situation that the Orioles just couldn't win and he was going to become a free agent, so that would make sense to trade a guy like this. But they definitely, if they're going to build a team, they got to build around somebody. And Mullins is the only player in baseball last year to get, what was it, 30-30? That's unbelievable.
The only one to get 30-30. So a little surprised to see that he's on the trade block.
He's not on the trade block.
Well, don't forget, if they trade him, they are going to get a bundle. They almost have to.
Yes.
We are moments away from beginning our coverage of the Arizona Fall League to tell you about the players that must be watched generally in your reserve rounds, but we'll get to that in a minute. If you haven't heard, big news, Yimi Garcia agreed to a contract with the Blue Jays. Okay.
Is that big news?
It's just news. Okay.
Yeah.
And what do you think of the Wander Franco signing? Okay.
Dude, the Rays are changing their ways. They are signing up a lot of, this is the 5th time that they've signed a long-term contract with a player with less than a year of service time.
Really?
So they did with Evan Longoria. He had 24 days of service time. Matt Moore in 2011. I know these are old, but Chris Archer, he had 156 days of service time.
Wow.
And Brandon Lau, 58 days of service time in 2019. So now they have Wander Franco. I don't know exactly how many days of service time he has. Do you?
No, I don't know.
But less than a year of service time, obviously. Right.
Well, that's pretty good.
I like Franco for the Rays. I think the Rays are doing a good job with that.
Right. So, Chris Gallo said that says his line dropped again. So
I don't know what. I really don't. I don't know how to help him because I don't know. He keeps saying that, but he doesn't tell me what kind of. Is he on an iPhone? Does he have?
Yeah, I think he's on a phone.
Okay, if he knows how to pop the video out there's a little icon in the top left corner of the video. You can do that. You can push it out of the screen and it will come up on the iPhone screen up in the corner, and you can do other things while you're watching the video. It shouldn't be dropping on you, and if it's dropping on anybody else, please let me know.
Let us know. Call us at 516-353-6375. Okay. Caprion is here. Gallo is here. Daniel Ferrara, Jeremy Gibbs, King Hap, Malpal, the Robert C., the Rotorius, the Star Dog. Woo! As we get ready to talk Arizona Fall League, National League. Right, Andy?
So the video's giving Hapster trouble, too.
Oh, yeah?
I don't know how to fix this, but I will put the link to the Facebook video. I'm not sure. I would like some more input if you guys want to tell me how your experience is going, because so I'm just going to grab the link to the video on Lenny's page, and you can go ahead with are we going to talk about the Fall League now or what?
Yeah, we'll start with the National League. We'll start with the New York Mets. Okay.
Whoops. So I'm just going to, there we go.
Okay. Andy's trying to remedy the situation.
Yes. Hey, Roger. How are you doing? Chris Northrup's here. Okay.
Okay. We'll start with the New York Mets. Any players that jumped off the page with you on the Mets?
Hold on a second. You're going to have to do this. I'm putting a link in the chat room.
Okay. Put that link in the chat room.
On the Mets. I don't know.
Brett.
Uh-oh. 1 second. I'm going to go put Lenny back on because that's what happens.
Okay, we are back. Are we back? Okay, we're back. Say something, Andy.
Yes, we're back. We're back.
Okay, I got you. Okay, Arizona Fall League. We're going to go team by team, talk about a player or two. That's about it. And these are the players that you really want to watch. I don't say you go crazy bidding on them, but perhaps in the reserve round, and if you're in a dynasty league, these are the players that mean a lot. Brett Batty was a first-round pick from 2019. He was the Mets representative in the Arizona Fall League. And I got to tell you, he had the distinction of reaching base in his first 8 Arizona Fall League plate appearances. And he was just a pretty good player. He was the Arizona Fall League Player of the Week in Week 1.
In Week 1, and he actually, I mean, by the day 28, he was just as good. He was tied for the team lead in hits, I believe.
Yes.
301 batting average, one of 13 hitters in the Fall League. to have a 300 batting average or higher. So I don't know. Do you think he's going to be trade bait? Because the Mets don't really seem to need him at this point.
No, maybe at the end of the year he could come up, but definitely could be considered as trade bait, although the Mets do not want to trade their prospects.
Doesn't strike out a lot, this guy.
Right. In addition to not wanting to trade their prospects, get a pitcher or a player that requires them to give up a pick. They don't want to trade them. So
they don't want to trade any prospects, and they don't want to give up a pick. So what the hell?
We'll see.
Kind of narrowing your options there.
So Brett Batty is someone who could be around maybe the end of this year, maybe next year, but don't look for immediate production.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Atlanta Braves, Victor Vodnik, he's their number 20 in the MLB pipeline. He did have an injury-plagued regular season where he played in Double-A. He pitched 33 innings. But I got to tell you, this is a good-looking right-handed pitcher.
I don't know. He at Double-A, his ERA was over 5, and I realized that that's 33 innings is not a lot. Before that, he played at A-ball, 67 innings, so he has like 0 experience, okay? Very little experience, not ready to come up at all or even close. I mean, and when he did get called up to Double-A, he was horrible. Maybe that has to do with his injury. I realized that he obviously was hurt, but this guy is not even in the fantasy baseball lingo at this point.
Well, he may not be because the Braves are so packed with young talent, but he did finish the Arizona Fall League, 2nd in innings pitched, okay, 4th in strikeouts, even though he had a 5.7 ERA, a 239 batting average against. And I got to tell you, he showed pretty good strikeout potential. So
yeah, he strikes out batters, but this guy has a big problem with the ERA, and it kind of erases his success as a strikeout guy when he's still allowing runs, you know?
Mm-hmm. Okay. The Marlins, we've talked about this guy. If you listened to the Daily J.J. Bleday, number 71 on the pipeline, but he's got a chance to make this team.
Bleday is much closer to being ready. Miami is probably getting ready to call him. I don't know if he's closer to being ready. Is he? He hit Double-A. That's it.
Yep. He's going to start. He's going to start the year in Triple-A.
Yeah,
and
probably.
But he could make the majors by the middle of the season.
Okay, but what are we looking at here? We have a guy that had 397 at bats at Double-A, 12 home runs. Okay, that's decent. But his batting average was 212.
Not in the Arizona Fall League.
Well, okay, fine, but
his batting average was around 315. That's the last I looked. He had 5 homers, 24 RBIs. He was a powerhouse. Now in Double-A, he hit 212.
He does play all the positions in the outfield.
Right.
So
Double-A, he hit 212. So
right.
He will start the year in Triple-A. And if he performs Triple-A like he performed in the Arizona Fall League, he definitely could be a call-up.
One thing about him that we saw at Double-A is that he does take walks. He walked almost 14% of the time. And even though you would think with the 212 batting average that his strikeout rate is through the roof, it's not really through the roof. It was only 21%. So there's hope here, but it's
another
player, you know.
He is. That's why he could, if he has a good Arizona Fall League, he could get an audition. So I would absolutely keep my eye on him.
Okay.
Another outfielder in Miami Miami's looking for outfield. Cameron Meissner had a pretty decent season. He was tied for 5th in the Arizona Fall League with 14 RBIs. He needs better contact. So he's going to start Triple-A looking for contact. The Marlins are after outfielders all season. Anything you want to say about this kid?
MLB has him ranked 22 overall for prospect pipeline.
Right.
That's it.
8 of his 11 hits have gone for extra bases. in the last couple of weeks of the season. He also stole 3 bases. He's a 2019 first-round pick, and he had 44 extra base hits between high A and double A. So he could be someone to watch if he gets called up.
He'll go to AAA for a while, at least.
And what about Washington pitcher Cole Henry?
Well, the first day that he came out in his debut at AFL, he was unhittable. He threw 2 2/3 innings. Honestly, I know that doesn't sound like much, but it was actually the longest outing for a pitcher on the surprise Seguros team. They crushed Mesa 5-0 that day. He struck out 6 of the 9 batters that he faced. He allowed 1 2-out walk, and that was in the bottom of the 7th. So 7. Why do I have 2 2/3? 2 2/3 hitless, or his second outing he pitched 7. Whatever it is, he did a great job. He absolutely crushed the Arizona Fall League. So is he even close to being ready? Cole Henry, I would say no, because he's only ready to start at Double-A. I don't think I expect to see him coming up anytime.
He's 2 years away. And don't forget, the Nats sent Henry to the Arizona Fall League because they wanted to see him pitch more. Simple as that, okay? So he has improved the spot, starting in Double-A. He won't be up this year. He could be up next year, but somebody who could be up in 2023 is Jackson Clough.
Yeah, this guy Cole Henry was just drafted in 2020, so he's so far away. Jackson Clough.
Yeah, Jackson Clough, 2019 6th-round draft pick, and he could play shortstop. And don't forget, I have a suspicion that the Nationals are going to be rebuilt. He's 24 years old. 24 years old.
Yeah, so he's ready. Who's going to play? They have Alcides Escobar there. They have nobody. Carter Kieboom, he plays third. He can't even play good. So they do need a shortstop in Washington.
Right. And so in 21 Arizona Fall League games, Clough, that's Cluff, was batting .350. Okay. He was limited to only 45 games in the regular season. He had a hand injury, but he has made a strong showing. I would say possibly the end of the year, but reality says 2023.
No, I don't think that's true. I think he could make it to the majors. I definitely think this is a guy that could steal some bases for you, okay? With his eyes closed, he will steal bases. Plus, his batting average is his batting average so far as he moves up the ladder is like 330 or 340. It's pretty good. So,
and what about somebody on the Phillies who could be the starting shortstop on the Phillies? And his name? You know his name?
No, I don't know his name. I would say the starting shortstop for the Phillies is Didi Gregorius.
I think he's going to get traded. I don't think he'll be there. Bryson Stott. Stott, Stott. He has tremendous plate discipline. He drew 65 walks across 3 levels in the minors, okay? He's got he's the Phillies' number 2 prospect. He rose all the way from high A to AAA in only his second minor league season. He hit .299. I'll tell you what, he's drawn tremendous amount of walks, 15 RBIs in the middle of the Arizona Fall League. He was among the leaders. I got to tell you, he was selected to compete in the All-Star game. Keep an eye on this kid, Bryson Stott.
Bryson.
He showed
Stott. How do you spell his last name?
Stott.
There we go. Okay.
So elite offensive skills. He had 16 homers across 3 levels.
He's ready, dude. He's ready to come up.
He actually reached base in every one of the 26 games he played in the Arizona Fall League.
So what do you think they're going to trade DD? Because if they that's his only holdup. This guy is ready to come up to the majors if he had a spot to play, but the DD thing is in the way. So what do you think they're going to trade DD?
I think Didi will not be. I think Didi is a free agent.
Is he?
Yeah. I don't think he'll be a Philly next year. Let's go to the National League Central. National League Central, we have the Cardinals, a player that I talked about almost every day, Juan Yepez. Okay, Juan Yepez.
Is this guy a free agent or what the hell is going on? He signed a 2-year, $28 million contract in 2021. He's definitely not a free agent.
No, he's not. He had a strong regular season. He hit 323 across 2 minor league levels. But I got to tell you, power is not a problem for this kid. He's a 23-year-old slugger. He led the Cardinals with 27 home runs. He led the Cardinals minor leaguers, and he played between AA and AAA. So they have a lot of young outfielders in St. Louis. But this kid, and they got Goldschmidt at first, so I don't know where they're going to squeeze him in. But this kid's a player.
Dude, you first have to find a spot for him to play, and there isn't one. That's just the truth. There's no place for him.
They got O'Neill, they got Carlson, and they got Bader.
And Nootbaar.
And Lars Nootbaar. So, look, he could be trade bait. Absolute trade bait. Same thing with Nootbaar. He's 24. He had a team-leading 6 doubles in the middle of the season. He's a rare Arizona Fall League player who has already been in the majors, okay? So he's going to get some playing time.
Yeah, so he just even blocks this Juan Yepez even more. He blocks this guy. So, they don't have a DH in the National League yet. Maybe they will by the time the season starts, and then they might have a spot to put these guys. But as of now, neither of these two have a place to play. And if they do have to choose one of Nootbaar or Yepez, Yepez, I say Nootbaar gets a chance first because he's already been in the majors, and that's just
I think you're right. Now, do you know who the most valuable player was in the Arizona Fall League? Played on the Cubs. That's right. Nelson Velasquez. Nice going.
Yes, the Cubbies.
That's right. He had a tremendous year.
He's from Puerto Rico. Did you know?
No, I did not know that.
Yes.
But in 103 games across 2 levels in the minor leagues, he closed out Player of the Month in AA. A player that the Chicago Cubs, in my opinion, are going to make room for.
You think so?
Yes, I did.
Well, the Cubbies right now, they could use an outfielder, that's for sure. They have Rafael Ortega playing center field and Jason Hayward playing right field, 2 lefties and a switch hitter in the outfield. So I think the Cubbies could probably use him.
He was the player of the week in week 3. He's been one of the best performers in the Arizona Fall League. 9 home runs, 40 hits, and a 385 batting average. So keep your eyes on for Velasquez.
Last year, he jumped from high A to AA, and in AA he had 124 at bats, and he hit 8 home runs and stole 5 bases. So, and a 290 batting average. So I think that he is close to. He'll probably start the season at AAA, and I think they'll promote him. I think they'll promote him.
Let's go down to Milwaukee. This is the hometown of Brewer Jim and James Caplion. Joey Wiemer, the number 23 prospect in the Major League Baseball pipeline. He never played. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Don't get too excited because just what you were about to say. He's not ready.
Well, he hasn't played a game above A+.
High A
ball, right? Yeah. But he had a great regular season. He stole 30 bases and hit 27 home runs. So all we're doing is going to start in AA. So just a player to know. And if you're in a dynasty league, anytime there's a player with power and speed, we got to talk about it.
That's a lot of power and speed for a minor league player. You just don't normally see that many stolen bases. 30 stolen bases and 27 homers between low A and high A.
Cincinnati Reds had Ivan Johnson playing shortstop, and I'll tell you what, he during the regular season he hit 10 home runs, between low A and high A.
He's a switch hitter.
Yep. He just wanted to keep improving. He's the Reds' number 16 prospect. He only hit 2 homers from the right side during the regular season. He's now matched that number. He matched that number in 13 Arizona Fall League games. So here's the kid, Cincinnati. If they are rebuilding, he could start in Double A, but keep an eye on this kid.
What does
Once
he play?
again, Ivan Johnson, shortstop and second base.
Okay, so for the Reds shortstop, they do need a shortstop pretty badly. They have India at second base, though. So.
Yeah, that's true. Now, the Pirates have some players, have some fantasy relevant players.
Do they?
G1 Bay.
Okay.
And he makes things happen. He scored over 63 runs, 31 RBIs in 83 games in Double A in the regular season. And he is a speedster. So what he offers fantasy baseball is speed. And he's got 70 grade speed.
Are they going to get rid of Kevin Newman finally?
I think that between this kid Bay, who starts in AAA, you might see him as early as the second half of the season.
So Bay stole 20 bases, but he got caught stealing 8 times, and he was successful 20 times. That's not a great percentage of success. He did bat 278 in 320 at bats last year at AA.
Okay.
With 7 homers, too.
Right. Nick, we're only going to do the National League today. We'll do the American League next week. Is that okay, Andy?
I don't care. What do I have a choice in the matter?
Yes, you do.
No, I insist we do all of them today.
Okay.
Because we have to.
No, we don't.
Don't we have to do all of them in a couple days?
Okay. Nick Gonzalez is another Pirate player. He's the Pirates' number 4 prospect. He's a slugging second baseman who he had 3 doubles through 6 games in Arizona. And he's a player that every scout really, in his debut year, he hit 18 homers, 45 extra base hits in high A. And this kid can hit the ball. He can run. In 12 Fall League games, he had 16 hits. He was tied for 3rd, along with G1 Bay.
This guy this guy's too young. He's not even close.
I think, but he's somebody to be reckoned with.
For sure, right? Because he absolutely is somebody to be reckoned with. He batted 302 at high A. Okay, that was as high as he got. In 324 bats, he hit 18 home runs and stole 7 bases. So absolutely somebody to be reckoned with. It's just that in redraft leagues, I wouldn't put him on my late round list of prospects potential.
Hard to recommend an Arizona pitcher. Arizona did not have a great showing in the Arizona Fall League, but Slade Sakani, who is the number 7 in the pipeline, he started 12 games and threw for 59 innings in his debut in high A. So he's got a way to go. Just want you to know his name. Slade. Yeah, Sakani. All right.
Somebody for the Pirates, I think.
Oh, you mean Royce? Yeah, go ahead. He was
the Contreras, number 6 overall in the MLB pipeline ranked. So this guy has a spot probably because he actually made his major league debut, didn't he? Last season, at the end of the season, I think he was called up. So I wouldn't be surprised if depending on how the service time thing works out, starting with the new agreement, hopefully they'll come up with a compromise where they're not leaving these players down in the minors when they should be in the majors. So this guy did make his major league debut. His ERA was 3.21, 18 strikeouts in 14 innings across 5 starts in Arizona. So he actually is going to enter next season with a decent chance at a job in the rotation, and he would be somebody to put on my list, although I cannot ever recommend any pitcher in Pittsburgh.
Well, there you go. So the Pirates, between Gonzalez and who's the other guy? Bay and Contreras, have some players to look out for. Okay.
Mhm.
Now the Colorado Rockies have a first baseman, and they need first baseman. Michael Toglia, 23-year-old switch hitter. He's going to start in AAA. He had in the middle of the
Why
Arizona.
do they need a first baseman? They have Cron, CJ.
Yeah, but they don't like him for some reason.
What?
I've heard they don't. They're not. He'll compete with CJ Cron. He'll compete with CJ Cron.
What's his name?
Michael Toglia, Toglia.
All right.
23 years old. He's a switch hitter. He's going to start in AAA. He was actually batting .308 with 6 walks, 47 plate appearances when I took a look at him. And I think you got to pay attention to him. And also Ryan Velotte, who's the number 5 in the pipeline. He had, after 19 games in the Arizona Fall League, he had 3 multi-hit games.
Okay, but they have, I mean, I don't know where he'll play because they have Blackman and, Blackman, what's he doing? Is he done?
No, he's not done. He's
the Rockies.
No, he's not done, but they'd like to get rid of him.
Again, still. Ramel Tapia, he's one too. Ramel Tapia.
Yep, he's out there as well. But he doesn't, they're not thrilled with these guys. I'll tell you what, if this kid Toglia and Ryan Velotte show something in the spring, things could happen. He's 6'2".
Hilliard play? Sam Hilliard, remember him?
Yes, Sam Hilliard's another candidate. But Velotte is 6'2", okay? And he's a player. He was batting .215 when I saw him at first. I didn't pay attention. And then he raised his average up to .250. So not a bad player, somebody to keep in touch with. He has 6 at-bats in the majors already.
Well, he's not playing first base.
And he'll start in AAA.
Oh, he plays outfield.
Okay.
Okay, well, I'm just saying, Cron has a job.
I beg to differ. We'll see what happens there.
Okay, move on.
What about the Dodgers? Who you got on the Dodgers?
Jacob Amaya, shortstop.
That's good. Right.
What's up with another shortstop? He's actually 23 years old, so he was already playing at AA, 113 games. So he only hit .216 there. Okay.
Yep. But he did pick it up in the Arizona Fall League.
He was added to the roster, the 40-man.
Okay, so and he could be. Don't forget, Corey Seager could be leaving. So if this kid, he hit his first home run towards the end of the season. He had a 3-hit performance in his first home run. He wound up hitting safely in 6 of 7 games to wind up batting close to .340. He's a player that you have to know about, Jacob Amaya. Depending upon what happens with Corey Seager, Amaya could be a player in reserve rounds.
I mean, hello, Turner plays shortstop. Is that not an option here for Turner?
He's an option, but you just got to watch this youngster.
Yeah, okay. Well, he doesn't have a place to come up, especially if they decide to try to get Seager.
Same thing with James Altman, who's a 24-year-old left-handed outfielder. He had a tremendous regular season. He had 48 extra base hits during the regular season. He's 24. So if there's any attempt to make him a player, he's got to be fairly close. So just keep an eye on this kid, James Altman, who towards the end of the year had a team-high 7 doubles. He really somebody who's going to start in AAA. He was added to the 40-man roster.
Yeah, and they have no place for him.
Right. San Francisco.
Yeah, San Francisco. Marco Luciano.
Oh, yeah. Everybody knows this kid.
He's
Everybody
number 5.
Right?
Yeah.
Number 5 in the pipeline. He's 20 years old. He had a
strikes out too much.
He does. He only hit .239. Didn't have a great Arizona Fall League. He's 6'2".
He's 6'2", too. 6'2". That's the number of the day, 6'2".
That's right. I used to be 6'2". Okay. And then I met you. Luciano is going to start in AA. So we'll see how that works out.
He's only 20. So what about Seth Cory? He's about ready. Maybe he's a pitcher, a lefty.
Yep.
He actually finished up the fall league really strong. In his final start, he pitched 2 perfect innings, 3 strikeouts, and like 17 of his 27 pitches went for strikes. And he finished up with an ERA of 3.09 with a batting average against of 105. And he made 6 starts. That was a league high, 17 strikeouts in 11 and 2/3 innings. But guess what? He walked 12. That's a horrible, horrible problem with the walks. And seriously, I don't know, man. I mean, I love the pitching in San Francisco. I love the pitching coach, but this guy had a 5.99 ERA last season in 19 starts at triple or high A. That's it. High A Eugene. That's Eugene, Oregon, just in case you didn't know, Leonard.
Okay, and to round off the National League, Mackenzie Gore pitched a little bit, but I'll tell you what, he walked 5 in one game, lifted for a pinch hitter in the second inning.
What's up with McKenzie, dude? Gore.
I don't know. He's got a lot of work to do. Okay, so his final line in his 3rd Arizona Fall League start: 5 innings, 3 earned runs, 7 hits. He was added to the 40-man roster. Looks like he's going to start in AAA. And just to let you know, C.J. Abrams, he was set to be one of the big names in the Arizona Fall League, but he fractured his left tibia and
tibia.
Yep. So he was, which ended his AA season in July and never made it back to the Arizona Fall League. Okay.
So yeah, are you done?
That takes care of my end of the National League.
Okay, so I was just gonna go over a couple little notes. I thought it was interesting what you had about the AFL and the history of the AFL.
Okay, go ahead.
So, MLB wanted to create an off-season league so that they could monitor and pretty much make sure that it's organized. Like if anybody gets hurt, they would have somebody there, managers, coaches, scouts, everybody could participate. So they started this Arizona Fall League. And they try out new things there too, just like they do in the minor league. So after they tried out a bunch of stuff in the minors last year, they decided to try out some things in Arizona this year, including the pitch clock, right? A 15-second pitch clock. Some of these were used in just part of the games and others in all of the games. For instance, all 30 games included a pitch clock, as well as the what was it? This no shifting.
Yep, they tried that out too.
2 infielders have to play anywhere on each side of second base and on the infield skin. And then that resulted actually in a better batting average, but not very much, 0.004 rise in batting average. That's less than 1%. Okay. And it was a small sample size of 30 games, but it did really seem to work because the major league hitters, they batted 244 last season. That was down 20 points if you go back to when they started shifting, when Tampa Bay actually started the shifting back in 2008. Batters were hitting 264. Now, there were 55,595 shifts utilized in 2021 at the major league level. That's 30.9% of all plate appearances were shifts. Amazing that the 3 of the teams that made it to the league championship series, including the Braves and the Astros, were teams that utilized the shift the most. And actually the Brewers, who we have some Brewers fans here, the Brewers, they did win the National League Central, but they were the second to last as far as shifting among the 30 teams. So they ranked 28 out of 30 for the shifting. But other than that, most of the teams that made it far, they used the shift. So what do you think of that? Do you think, I mean, I know that there's people in the chat room that would say they do not like the shift and they think there should be some restrictions, at least, if not completely get rid of the shift. I say if you can't learn to hit the ball on the other side of the park, then that's too bad for you.
I would say out of all the rule changes, the shift is the least one that I would suggest. So
the pitch clock did work down at the minors. They lasted 2 hours and 45 minutes. Oh, no, this fall they did 2 hours and 45 minutes versus 3 hours and 10 minutes during the Major League.
That's a big deal.
Plus,
Yep,
yeah,
go ahead. I think they'll employ the pitch clock.
I do too. And also the bases are larger. They went from 15 inches to 18 inches. And the automatic strike zone, there's going to be mixed emotions about this one. The umpires are actually on board with this. Amazingly enough, their union voted in the last contract negotiations to come up with a system with the MLB. They're working with them. And they still have to install this stuff at 30 Major League Baseball parks. So this is going to be a big deal, and it's probably not going to happen for another couple years. But the grip on the balls, so now they're trying out these new balls, which is kind of exciting. These balls already come with a powdery substance rubbed on it. They don't need the mud anymore from the Delaware River, right? That they've been using since 1938, by the way. They don't need that anymore. It comes right out of the box with some grip on it, less slick. Hopefully they'll avoid having to use what's the pine tar that's like extra sticky? I don't know that. I can't remember the name right now.
Sticky stuff.
Anyway, MLB gets to decide. This is one of the only rules that MLB has control completely of implementing, and I think that they are going to implement this as early as next season in the majors for sure. I think it should work. But the pickoff attempt one, where they said pitchers can only attempt to pick off a batter twice. Then after that, you're just going after that. Because
I can't see that rule being applied at all.
Well, they say that the desired effect was to promote more stolen bases, and it did work.
Of course it's going to work. If you know you're not going to get picked off, then why wouldn't you run? Take an extra step lead.
Well, I mean, if you've already been tried to be picked off twice, then you're going, dude.
You're
you got
going.
The green, yeah, man. Nobody's waiting. But they were successful 74% of the time in the fall league. 184 out of 249 stolen base attempts. That's a lot of stolen base attempts. I mean, compared to what we've been seeing in the past recent years. So, anyways, that's that. But do you want to tell who's the there's hitter of the year for the AFL. JJ Bleday shared it with Juan Yepez. Neither of these guys are worth fantasy, in my opinion. But that Nelson Velasquez, Cubbies guy,
he was MVP.
He's got MVP, and he's one of the league's best, most consistent performers. And I think he has a job available for him if he decides that he's ready in spring.
No question about it. Let's go to the American League. And
we don't have to do the American League today.
No, that's what I said. Next week we'll do the American League. Okay.
Sounds good.
American League. So I want to thank everybody who's been patient. It's been a long show. Brewer Jim, James Caprion, King Hap, Mal Pal, Star Dog was here. I want to thank everybody for sticking with us. And I'll be back again tomorrow at 9:00.
Did you have a good Thanksgiving, Leonard?
It's not over yet.
Oh, it's still going?
That's right.
Is Black Friday still going?
I'm very thankful. Thanks, everyone.
What about Black Friday? Is that going still?
It's fantastic.
Okay.
See you later.
Thanks a lot, everybody. See you later.